Hi, everybody. This is Jason.
This is Pete.
And this is the Lost Legions podcast. And what are we doing today?
We're here to talk about the aftermath of close combat in all its seriousness and all of your options and how it works. Because it's quite interesting. And I'd be keen to know, guys, let us know your thoughts on this one specifically. We're going to maybe do a couple more strategic episodes like this. I haven't told Jason this yet, but I'd like to do more like this, where we go into a specific kind of rule or core part of the game and kind of pick it apart a little bit. So let us know if this is good. If you want us to keep doing unit reviews instead or whatever, just let us know. But it'd be cool to know if you enjoy this kind of content. So jumping in to it. So aftermath options. So just to clarify, aftermath is the rule section of where a combat resolution has been determined. You have a winner and a loser. What are your options and what do you do now? Fine.
I thought this was your band name.
Oh, it does look like a very cool metal rock album cover, doesn't it?
This is my metal band
it's
called
Galactic
Aftermath
Metal
Options.
Aftermath Options. Yeah. So what does this entail really? So the general rules for Aftermath is that the loser gets to pick first. So whoever's lost combat picks one of their aftermath options, and the options are hold, disengage, fall back, consolidate, gun down, and pursue. Not all of these options are available depending on what's happened, so we'll go through them. So Jay, if you want to take away the first aftermath option, can you read that? Okay.
Yeah, hold, available to non-routed units. Okay, so that was my question because one of the things I knew. Pete had to prep this one, just spoiler. So he is your go-to man. So available to non-routed units, winner or loser. You do an immediate pile-in move. You stay in base contact. You stay locked in combat. When to use? When you want to stop an enemy from scoring an objective. When it's your opponent's player's turn next to keep you safe from shooting. So this is if you because this is the loser. So this is if you lose, but you don't run away.
Yes.
You are not broken. So at that point, you could choose to hold. But I think that why we're going to get into this is that, and I think what's been hinted at here is if it's your turn next, you might not want to hold.
Yes.
So I guess we continue on.
Yes, exactly. So, and just to be clear, it's the loser who gets to choose first. Now, the loser can't always choose, depending on if they've routed or not, ultimately. But the loser can choose to hold, and then the winner could choose to hold or choose to do something else.
We'll get more into it, but maybe we should just for spoilers is that if you lose, you have to. If you rout, if you fail your check, you have to fall back.
Yes, which
and
is
that is where you're stuck. So we'll get into that more when we're falling back.
So moving on to disengage. So this one here is quite a pig to read. So try to break it down the best I can. So this is available to the loser only, and it's a way of kind of getting out of the combat. It's the opposite of holding, ultimately, right? It's a way of moving out of the combat and no longer continue the fight. So to move each model, its movement value away from enemies in the combat. So you move 7 inches away if you're a standard Marine. You must end in coherency and not in base contact with any enemy models. All right. If models can't move further away from enemy models, it becomes impossible to complete the disengage. And if it's impossible, your unit holds instead. So if my 7-inch move would take me 8 inches through an enemy unit and I can't get my guy out, or there's impassable terrain or something along those lines, it's impossible to do a disengage. It's very situational.
Even if it's just in a giant swirl, right? Because sometimes combats are super chaotic, how depending on units go together and how big they are. Sometimes you might not be able to move 7 inches away. Yeah, because maybe you can't move through their units, so you can only go down.
No. You literally can move through their units. This is why this is a pig.
Oh,
So moving on. So you can. So passing through locked enemies is allowed. Difficult terrain does apply. So you get the -2 for difficult terrain, and you must end greater than 2 inches from all enemies, and you get to extend the move if needed. So let me give it a bit of an example here. So let's say I'm in difficult terrain. The combat's in a difficult terrain. I've moved my 5 inches because I'm a regular Marine moving through difficult terrain, and it's only got me an inch away from the nearest enemy model. I'm not 2 inches away. I can now use the extended move rule to move me 2 inches away. Does that make sense? It is a pig. It is a pig. If I'd have moved the 5 inches through the combat and I'm base to base, or I can't get more than 2 inches away. Sorry, I'm not more than 2 inches away. I then can't use my extended move to move me more than 2 inches away. So your extended move only applies if you could get 2 inches away. It's really terribly written. I've tried to simplify it here. So long and short of it, there's some certain situations, really, if it's a big, as Jay said, a mosh pit, close combat going on, or if you're up against some impassable terrain or a tank or something along those lines, then it's less likely you're going to be able to do this.
As hard as I thought, though, because I didn't actually realize you could move through their models now.
It's to represent the swirling of combat and all that sort of stuff, right? And if you're left out of coherency after you've done this, or if you, by some other means, have managed to complete it without, you've began doing it and it goes to show that, oh, no, I can't actually get away without being in base-to-base contact with an enemy, you gain the routed special rule. So that's that. So it's a bit of a pig to explain. But yes, available to the loser only as well. That's the key thing to remember here. So the loser always chooses first. So this is where you don't rout. You pass your leadership check to stay in the fight, but you're like, I don't like the idea of this. Now, when would you want to do this? If you want to exit combat, because it's your next player turn, so that would allow you then to use this unit as you wish to. But it got me thinking, Jay, you could use this in a number of tactical ways. So let's say you're fighting on an objective. You could choose to disengage, and now your opponent has the choice. Well, do I re-engage them, because I don't want that unit being free the next player turn to shoot me, charge me, do whatever they want to do? Or do I pursue them, which we'll come onto later, but it means then I'm going to leave the objective I'm sat on empty, which means another unit's going to come in potentially and take that objective. So there are actually tactical options with it. So freeing up board space and other units and that sort of stuff. Does that make sense? It's a bit of a pig to explain, but it'd be really helpful if they put a diagram in it, because it reads terribly, that one. Moving on, so next one. Do you want to take this one?
Sure. Fall back. So this is the one that when you're routed is mandatory. We talked about earlier. So spoilers. So this is when you fail, routed units automatically pick fallback. So all models gain routed, if not already, make immediate fallback move. When to use, situational, could be treated as further distance to disengage. If it's your player's turn, you can remove this status effect at the end of your turn. So you can voluntarily choose to fall back.
Yeah.
Is what? Okay.
So you can do a fallback.
I've seen this happen many times, but never voluntarily.
Yeah. So like our game yesterday, Jay, where I fell back, but because it was my player turn, immediately at the end of my player turn, I had the option to remove my status effect. Yeah. But
you only remove your. Wait a minute, though. Is it? But it's not panic. It's just the routed.
You gain the routed status. Yeah. You then do your fullback D6 plus initiative.
Yeah.
You then, at the end of your turn, you then have the option to remove status effects. Now, that's why I wrote here it's situational, because ultimately it's going to be because if you want to just do that, you would just disengage, right? But you can't
roll. You have to roll to remove the status effect. Right?
You do. So super like, but your fallback distance could be considerably further than just your movement distance for whatever reason, right? So there are situations where you might want to use it, but it's going to be super dodgy. I think you might use this once in the whole edition voluntarily. It's going to be super situational, where you think, actually, if I do move further with a fallback and then rally, that means I can run further onto the objective at the end. And if I just consolidated, for example, you could use it. You could treat it as a further distance consolidate, with the knowledge that you might want to then try and rally, if that makes sense, or pass your route. Rally your route status. Moving on. So that one's everyone's familiar with that one, surely, but not on a optional basis. So you got consolidate. So this is the winner only. If all enemies are falling back or disengaging, and that's when you can do this. So you can't do it otherwise. So you can't have one. So the loser can choose to hold. You can't then choose to consolidate. You can choose to do disengage, for example, or fallback. So you move your models a distance equal to their initiative, as we know, in any direction. You must end your incoherency and 2 inches or more from enemies, and you're not modified by any dangerous terrain tests. When would you want to use this? Well, moving to score objectives. That's quite clear. That's probably how you would use this most frequently, I think, after winning a combat and going, yeah, this is now my objective. Or you can just use it for repositioning for next turn, blocking a path, moving into cover, etc. All quite straightforward stuff. Moving on. You want to take this one?
Gun down. So yeah, I got to do this one the other day. Actually, it was pretty fun because Pete fell back and I was on the objective. So I didn't want to chase him.
Yeah.
So I shot him.
And you didn't need to consolidate either, did you?
No,
because you were already on it. So yeah, so this was a good option.
So it was just an extra option to take out some guys who are running away from me. So yeah, I think this is good. Like, so as it said, like when you don't want to be unengaged, we want to be unengaged from the combat, but try to kill your opponent. It's really slow for me to read Pete's text actually, and I don't actually have usually I have them in front of me, but I don't have them, so I'm reading them on the preview window where I watch me and Pete. But yes, if you want to hold your position and score the objective, this is where it's ideal. Or you're like someone like Sons of Horus who has volley fire at full BS, then this might be a better option for you than chasing them. Or you can't, right? Because you're a slow-ass Cataphractic Terminator.
Yeah.
So this is a great option too. So again, like Cataphractic Terminators are going to have a ton of shots from their bolters. So this is actually pretty cool for them.
Yeah, it's really helped out Terminators. And you're right, if you're leaning into armies with the assault weapon rules, like a unit of Volkite Chargers, perhaps, or something along those lines, then you're getting your shooting phase, you're getting your setup, move, shoot, volley fire. If you win the combat, you then got your gun down again. You could shoot 3 times in one round, which is pretty mad. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then finally, the final option is Pursue. So again, these last 3, Consolidate, Gun Down, and Pursue, are only available to the winner, and they're only available if all enemies are falling back or disengaging. So you roll a d6 plus your initiative, that's your distance move. You must move towards the nearest enemy that fell back. If you end in base contact, it counts as a successful charge, and the unit is locked in combat. So that's really key. So when would you want to use this? If it's your opponent's turn next and you don't want to be shot at. So it's the opposite of disengaging, really, right? So, you want to be using it the other way around.
I also think that like a lot of times you're going to want to use this anyway. It depends, because you don't want them to rally, right? Like I think that this is going to be a very common option, and it's pretty easy to catch them depending on how the combat is stacked up. Most of the combats I said have been in and like completely swirled around, so it's been really hard for them to get a very far distance from me. So I've just caught them every time. So
this is where I think the Dark Angels in particular are going to be really good, because if they never take leadership checks at below a 6, you could choose to disengage from combat more than falling back. And when you disengage, you just move your movement value. So can you imagine like some assault marines that choose to just disengage instead? You're going to have such a hard time catching those guys.
Because they're the movement value. Actually, that's actually a really good point for assault marines.
Assault marines and jet bikes
terrible. Yeah.
Disengaging is pretty interesting to consider. So this is why before we start recording this, like Jay, I know we just wanted to talk about like, oh, you roll some dice and that's it. But actually, you start streaming about it. There's so much more to this part of the game. You're quite right. If you want to, if it's your opponent's next turn, if you want to stop the enemy from rallying and acting as normal, because there's a very good chance they'll get to do that, especially with Nuncio Voxes. And if you want to benefit from your charge bonus again, because you count as charging, right? So you're going to get your initiative modifiers if you've got a legion like that. You're going to get your weapon modifiers, your impact stuff. All pretty cool. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's definitely, there's more things to do. There's more things to consider, right? Like I never even thought about disengaging if you're a jetpacker, because that moves 12. Like, because if you're thinking most of the time, I'm just thinking like foot sloggers versus foot sloggers, it's hard to get away. But if you're a jump packer and you move 12, it's going to be hard for them to catch you. It's going to be the opposite.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like hit and runny, which is kind of cool because hit and run's gone.
I was going to say it's a way of bringing back hit and run. Yeah. And especially if you're Dark Angels, you're going to be able to choose to do that more often than not, and it is like the polar opposite of their unique reaction of fight an extra round of combat again. So they're kind of like just calling the close combats on their terms a little bit with those. So I quite like that. It's making me think of little lists and stuff, so I need to stop thinking about that. Anyway, right, stick with the Iron Warriors. Let us know what your thoughts are. If you've enjoyed this sort of thing, then let us know. It'd be really good to see. And that's pretty much it. Anything else to add, Jay?
No, that's it. Thanks, everybody.